So, today a few thoughts on Genesis 22, verses 1 to 14. Abraham tested. Then God said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about." Well, what a test for Abraham. Sacrifice your son, your only son, the son you'd waited for so long, the son you love. Sacrifice him for me. Now, it would be easy to jump to conclusions and think that Abraham must have been total and utter torment. But was he? Look closely, and there are clues there in the text to suggest that he believed God would not actually call him to do it, and he trusted him totally in that. Earlier, God had told Abraham that he would make a great nation of him through Isaac. He was so convinced that he would not have to sacrifice his son, that he also told his servants that they would be back. And of course, Mount Moriah means God will provide. So perhaps Abraham had great confidence. But then, as events moved closer and closer to the moment of no return, God did not provide. I wonder if Abraham was able to hold on so steadfastly. Was he able to hold on to his faith and his trust? Well, it was a faith that raised the knife over his son. It was a faith that obeyed God's will as he was prepared to do what he should do. A faith that I think should stop us all in our tracks. In the end, of course, God did provide. Abraham's hand was stopped and a ram was provided. And of course, we mustn't forget Isaac either. He too trusted and obeyed his father. I wonder what was going through his mind as he found himself bound there, his life about to be ended at the hand of his own father, who he trusted so much. Well, move on a few centuries, and we see another son sacrificed by his father. Once again, we see an act of total obedience, trust and faith. This time, though, there was no ram to replace the Lamb of God as he hung on the cross outside the city walls. The son had faith in the Father had faith in the Son. This time there was real and unimaginable pain for both Father and Son as he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Well, the last few months have seen all of us tested in many ways, with us having to make sacrifices. Unfortunately, in some respects, the word sacrifices has been used a bit too much by the media and lost some of its impact as a result. But what we have had to do has meant real sacrifices being made. Sacrifices that have both hurt and tested. The hurt of not being able to hug loved ones. The hurt of not being able to come together to church and worship together there. Being tested in having to give up things that keep us going. And let's not play down such things. They are important, God-given blessings. What we have seen and heard about in the media and what we might have experienced firsthand should have tested our faith as well. Mine has certainly been tested. And there's been many a time on hearing the latest number of people who have died when I found myself saying, "Come on, God, why?" Especially now more than ever, as I heard on the news that there were only 150 deaths the other day. That's 150 people, God. 150 sets of families and friends now having to come to terms with how their loved ones have died. But in all things I've tried to trust and obey. Trust because, like Abraham, deep down I have faith in God. And I obey not because I'm told to by the government, well, not totally, but because I try to love as God calls us to love. We might not be at the summit of Mount Moriah, even though it might feel like we've been climbing it for the last few months. But God will provide. And God has provided. For through it all he has provided us with the faith and trust of hope and love. The hope and love we've been able to see every day in the people who have gone out of their way for others, giving and giving without counting the cost, sacrificing themselves in so many ways, even to the point of the knife poised over their lives, a knife that was to fall more than once. We might not always be able to trust and believe with the same confidence as Abraham did, but we can. We really can. Many weeks ago now, we were told that we will meet again. The days and weeks since they were spoken has truly been a sacrificial time for us all. Now, though, thanks be to God, those words are no longer on the far distant horizon. Hold on to that prospect and believe, for God will provide. Amen.